Okay. Good evening. I'd like to call to order the council meeting of May 13th. And with that, we'd ask clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Dunbar, Councilmember Garza, Councilmember Hussein, Councilmember Jackson, Councilmember Sadafor, Councilmember Spitzley, Councilmember Washington, Councilmember Wood.
Here.
There are 7 members present, a quorum. Councilmember Dunbar is absent.
And at this time, we'll rise for a moment of meditation and pledge of allegiance. If we could all keep Councilmember Dunbar in our thoughts and prayers. She lost her mother on Sunday, and so she is not with us this evening. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You have for your approval the printed council proceedings of April 29th.
Vice President Spatafor.
Madam President, I move the approval of the printed council proceedings from April 29th, 2019.
We have a motion on the minutes. Are there any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously.
And we are to special ceremonies. We have a tribute and recognition of the Against All Odds Foundation's anniversary.
If we could have those come forward that are here for this presentation. Is Shirley here? There she is. Do you have anyone else with you, Shirley? They can come forward at this time as well. We have the mayor that is also coming down, and this is celebrating their 20th anniversary. Could you come up around Pat and the mayor?
I've got shoe envy right now, but come
Yeah.
on. So, first of all, I want to thank President Wood for allowing me to present the resolution. It's very near and dear to my heart. My mother is a breast cancer survivor. My sister is a breast cancer survivor. And I just dodged a bullet with just abnormal cells. And so we are here, and it touches me. So whereas, I'm going to read just a little, whereas Against All Odds Foundation is a nonprofit 501c3 breast cancer organization dedicated to providing emotional and educational support services for African American women of all ages in all stages of breast cancer, along with their families, encouraging them to reclaim their lives. And whereas according to the National Breast Cancer.org, every 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime, and it is the most common cancer among women worldwide. And whereas Against All Odds Foundation hosts fundraising events such as Women of Vision Luncheon to help benefit these strong women. And whereas Against All Odds Foundation has dedicated their website for women to share special stories of hope and spread positive words of encouragement to other women, no matter where they are in life or in their stages of breast cancer. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Lansing City Council hereby recognizes the 20th anniversary of Against All Odds Foundation Women of Vision Luncheon, unveiling the mask to further support women empowering women, sharing knowledge, hope, and encouragement in that there is life after breast cancer diagnosis. Listen, I'm trying to hold back right now because, you know, we as women and all women, you know, we take care of everybody else. And sometimes we kind of fall down. My story, very briefly, with my mother is I travel a lot. And I knew my mother was going to the doctor. And I was on the airplane, and I was just talking to her, and they were getting ready to shut the airplane doors. And I said, "Oh, Mom, how was your doctor's appointment?" She said, "It was okay, but I have breast cancer." And as soon as she said that, they told me they had to so I had to turn my phone off. They shut the airplane, so I had to fly to my destination, you know, get out and within 3 days, she was, undergoing surgery. And so, it's those things that just make you just so appreciate life. And so, thank you for the organization. I know I'll have the mayor talk, but I'm just, thank you so much. I thank you. I appreciate it.
We have a motion.
We have a motion. I move the resolution.
We have a motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes unanimously. Mayor Shore.
I'm just gonna, it's hard to follow the councilwoman, but I just want to commend you for all you're doing against all odds. Great organization. Anybody who assists with those who have cancer, it's not easy. It's not easy. And so I also have a proclamation for you again. I think Patricia said more than I ever could. But, so I'm not going to read this whole thing. It's also a pleasure to celebrate the 20th anniversary. Now, therefore, I, Andy Shore, Mayor of the City of Lansing, by the power vested in me, do hereby proclaim May 18th, 2019 as Against All Odds Foundation Day in Lansing. I encourage all residents to join me in honoring the Against All Odds Foundation for their dedication to improving the lives of those who have been struck by cancer. We thank you for everything that you and everybody are doing. So I'm gonna give you this, and then I think I have to take it back because we're bringing it to the lunch.
Yes.
So I'm gonna give it to you for now, but then I have to take it back so we can give it to you again at the lunch. But thank you for all that you're doing.
I would just like to thank the council and the mayor for your support. 20 years, it wasn't an easy task. Being a two-time survivor myself, I saw a need to start this. So over the years, we've expanded from just African-American women to all women and men. We support them all because we find that it affects the entire family. And so we support the men and the women. So we are honoring 20 men and women at the luncheon that have been affected by this. And we do more than just give support. We also offer them an out and let them know that there is life after a diagnosis of cancer. For, it doesn't necessarily have to be a death sentence. So by living by example and encouraging them, and this is my VP, Ms. Queen Esther Morrell, and my husband is very supportive, Dwayne Powell, my granddaughter, and my son. My son started the youth chapter Against All Odds. He's on the youth board, or he's over that. So we understand we have to help the entire family because it affects everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We all wish to thank Shirley for all the hard work and consideration that she's done over the years. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Clerk.
Okay, we are to comments by council members and the city clerk.
Are there council member comments? Councilmember Hussein, or Councilmember Garza, excuse me.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to take this time to thank everybody that came out to our second joint constituent contact meeting, Adam Hussein and myself. This is our second time doing a South, encompassing the whole South, Ward 2 and 3 joint constituent contact meeting. We had State Representatives Sarah Anthony and Kara Hope, as well as part of the mayor's staff, and a couple council members showed up, and it was a really good, informative information. Brad Funkhauser, CEO of CATA, was there, and we just really appreciate you guys taking your time out of the day, on Mother's Day weekend especially, to come out and interact with us, so thank you.
Councilmember Spitzley, then
Thank-
Councilmember Hussein.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted everybody to know I got a measles booster shot today. The reason why I say that is because I am a woman of a certain age. Thank you very much. And I only got one shot, and I travel extensively. And so to protect myself and protect my parents who are elderly, I did get it was recommended that I get a booster shot. Vaccinations and immunizations are critical. And, so I wanted to share that I did get a boosters for the MMR. And I felt I needed to do that to protect my family. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council member comments? I think the whole idea was not to get quarantined, isn't that part of it? Yes. All right. Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, President Wood. Just want to thank everyone involved in the special election that we had for the Lansing School District last week. It was a successful election, although the turnout was not quite what I like to see, but we'll do better next time, right? With that, we are to community event announcements. If anyone in the audience has a community event, you have 1 minute to give us the details.
Loretta.
The Friends of Lansing's Historic Cemeteries will be doing its 12th annual geranium giveaway this coming Saturday, the 18th, at Evergreen Cemetery between 10 and 2. We'll have 150 seed geraniums to give away, up to 4 plants per family, to be put on graves in Evergreen or Mount Hope or North cemeteries. Thank you.
Loretta, did you want to speak to the memorial for the boys training school?
Yes, we will be hosting a press conference on Thursday at Mount Hope Cemetery at 1 o'clock. At that time, we will be announcing the results of our fundraising efforts. We have had a drive underway to come up with enough money to put individual markers on the graves of 60 boys who are buried at Mount Hope in the boys' training school site, some of them as long as 143 years without markers. So we are going to announce our results. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other community event announcements.
Hello, I would like to invite everyone to attend the 4th annual Lansing Bike and Seek this June 22nd. It's a bike riding treasure hunt around the city. Starting at Turner Dodge Park, your team will need to solve 10 clues scattered across the city, and then meet us back at Ozone Brewhouse for drinks and prizes and food. This year's route is about 10 miles long, and it's a great way to see the parks in the city and other interesting landmarks with friends and family. We've had kids come before in trailers, young kids in trailers, and then slightly older kids on their own bikes, so family friendly. It's called the Lansing Bike and Seek, June 22nd at 2 p.m., so you have about a month to get your bike legs back under you. And the event can be found on Facebook for more information. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other community announcements? Seeing none.
Okay, we are to registration for public comment on legislative matters. If you do wish to address the city council, we do need you to sign in on the blue sheet in the back. We'll be picking that up in just a moment, and that does include all of the scheduled public hearings. And I do want to mention that if you're here on the Red Cedar floodplain, we also have given you an alternative way to make written comments. So if you could submit those by the close of the public hearing, that would be great. But we will be picking up the sign-in sheet for public comment on legislative matters. That includes the public hearings, items on the consent agenda, the ordinances for introduction and passage. And we are to the mayor's comments.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam President. We have a few events coming up in the next few weeks. Tomorrow, don't forget, is the Love Lansing celebration. It's a celebration of local organizations and volunteer excellence. That's the love part. Tickets are $10, have to be purchased in advance. You can get them online or at the neighborhood's office at the Foster Community Center. On Wednesday is our next Walking Wednesday. We're at Greencroft Park, so you can join our staff and the leadership from McLaren Hospital to learn about plans and updates for the McLaren Hospital move. And that reminds me, last week we had a great Walking Wednesday at the Colonial Townhomes. Councilman Hussein was an especially excellent tour guide and host, so we appreciate that. We had a good turnout from the neighbors. I really enjoyed it, so please send our thanks to all the folks there. This Thursday and next Thursday at 1 p.m. from 1 to 6, we're doing the Serve Lansing Trash Tag Challenge. So over 50 neighbors have taken the Trash Tag Challenge. You can stop by the Department of Neighborhoods and Citizen Engagement offices in the Foster Community Center on Thursdays in May to pick up your free blue bags to pick up litter throughout your neighborhood. So it's a great way to clean up the city and get some free trash bags to do it and help to make your neighborhood better. And then this Saturday from 8 to 10, also as part of the Serve Lansing program, is Neighborhoods in Bloom Day. So neighbors in neighborhoods who have applied for flowers will pick up their flowers or soil or mulch and plant them in their neighborhoods. Volunteers are still needed to assist at our distribution sites at both the Allen Neighborhood Center and the Lansing Schools Welcome Center at Elmhurst Schools, but that's always a great event to see people picking up flowers and then planting them throughout the city and beautifying our wonderful city. And also this Saturday at 9 a.m. is our next mobile food pantry, which will be at Cristo Rey. That's what we've got going on.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, we are to public comment on legislative matters, and again, that includes the resolutions under the consent agenda and the ordinance for introduction and passage. And the following public hearings: number 1, the City of Lansing fiscal year 2019-2020 budget. Number 2, the special assessment for the Red Cedar floodplain. Number 3, noise waiver permit for Mount Hope Avenue, Capitol Avenue for Saturday and Sunday work from June 1st through August 30th. And number 4, SLU 1 of 2019, 900 South Land Avenue, church in the F Commercial District.
Okay, with that, we'll start with Vice President Spatafor. If you could handle public hearing 1 and 2.
Yes.
Okay.
The first one is the City of Lansing proposed fiscal year 2019-2020 budget. We did talk quite a bit about, hold on a second, there we go. The budget over the last few weeks, we've had weekly meetings before council and the committee of the whole, 2 neighborhood meetings that went out on the roads, and I'll talk real quickly about the proposals. Would you like me to do that? Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Public safety, the mayor has proposed an additional community police officer, bringing that total up to 11 from 10 in the current number. The parking enforcement division will be moved out from this under the police department to the economic development planning department. This will allow supervisory roles to take place at EDP and free up half of a sergeant's time to work on law enforcement issues. The mayor also proposed reinstating the Lansing LPD PAL program and adds a new graduate level crime analyst internship program in conjunction with MSU. Also includes a number of infrastructure projects for co-location of the city's Special Operations Unit, the Tri-County Metro, and U.S. Drug Enforcement Agencies, fire protection turnout gear, replacement of the fire records management system, fire department laptops and iPads, and police computers. This year in infrastructure and equipment, the mayor is recommending $4.5 million for major street and bridge work. This is a $2.5 million increase from last year, and it will be supplemented with $2.3 million in federal transportation dollars. $2.8 million for local street repairs. This is a $300,000 increase for FY 2020. $500,000 for new sidewalks and trailways. It is worth noting. Excuse me. It is worth noting some discussion was had about this $500,000 for new sidewalks. The reason that that number is higher is it's Act 51 money and can't be used on repairs, so it has to be used on new. Additionally, the mayor has proposed $300,000 for sidewalk repairs, and this is the same amount as last year, which was an increase. 100% of the city road and sidewalk millage is proposed to be used for projects instead of equipment and things like that, which was a change last year, I believe. The mayor's also proposed $50,000 to implement wireless access capabilities in 5 of our city parks. We've talked a lot about Wi-Fi in parks, but technology also the IT department also talked about that this can be used for some of the smart city implementations, including the security cameras that will go in those areas. They've The mayor has proposed $930,000 designated for design of the next segment in the Colonial Village area of the continued efforts for the combined sanitary and stormwater sewer operations, and $1.9 million in vehicle and equipment purchase and replacements for our fleet. Excuse me. I ate too many salted peanuts before speaking. The mayor has also proposed in adding an additional code compliance officer, bringing that to 10 in addition to our 5 code compliance premise officers. The facade grant championed by this body was proposed an increase of $25,000, bringing that total to $175,000 in available funding. Also an increase in $25,000 to the arts and culture funding, bringing that total to $175,000. We've seen another proposal to add a additional planning and zoning position to the Department of Economic Development and Planning. Let's see what else we have. And then the mayor has also proposed an additional position to help coordinate neighborhood work and the new Serve Lansing initiative partnership with MSU and United Way in the Office of Citizen Engagement and the Citizen Engagement Department. The mayor also, let me see, I think that those are the big things. The other big one that was proposed is a $285,000 expenditure to add, to convert all city facilities to the Board of Water and Lights Greenwise program. $100,000 of that is general fund, $185,000 comes out of the enterprise funds and other funds. And then in addition to that, the mayor has proposed something that won't cost, but rather will save energy reduction facilities using performance contracting to reduce our energy footprint. So that cost is hopefully cost neutral over a number of years. But those are the big highlights from FY 2020.
Okay, if you could briefly touch on the special assessment. Thank you.
All right, the next one is a special assessment. This is roll RCF 19, Red Cedar floodplain remapping. In an effort to redraw the floodplain maps, we're working with a number of municipalities and the federal government to remap the Red Cedar floodplain. If memory serves, the total cost was going to be something around $363,000, of which, and I did confirm this with the city attorney, $180,000 or so would be under this proposal, put out as a special assessment on businesses, apartments, and residences. And we've had a number of folks appeal those, and a number of folks talk about the pluses of this. The long story short is the floodplain maps are wrong, so redrawing them would reconfigure which homes in the Red Cedar floodplain would be required to purchase flood insurance under if they're federally borrowed loans, and then which would be encouraged to purchase flood insurance if they're not.
All right, thank you, Vice President Spatafor. Next is the sound waiver. Councilmember Washington.
We will be holding the sound waiver public hearing tonight. This is in regard to Mount Hope Avenue and Capitol Avenue. This will be so that work can be done between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. But I do believe, if I remember correctly, on Sunday on Capitol Avenue, due to church services, they won't start till 1.
Correct.
This will not occur from the entire time from June 1st to August 30th, but sometime within there. And we are asking for this because our construction season is very short and we need to get the work done.
Thank you. Councilmember Hussein.
Sure. This is in consideration of SLU 1 2019. SLU stands for Special Land Use. This is for 900 Southland Avenue, Suite 918, to allow for a church in the F Commercial District. The applicant in this case is Holiday Park. The purpose for the SLU would be to allow for a church in a multi-tenant building on Southland. Southland is it's a minor artery. It runs east and west between South MLK and South Washington, and it's just south of McDonald's on South MLK. We did have Pastor Mary Allen into Development and Planning to speak a bit about her church, the Church of Amazing Grace. She has 20 parishioners. Services are held Sunday from 11 to 2 p.m., Tuesday and Thursday from 7 to 8:30 p.m., and they currently worship at 6810 South Cedar. Pastor Mary Allen spoke about her desire to impact change in an area of town that could use positive influence. She also spoke a little bit about the forward movement of that area and wanting to be a part of that, and she had specifically referenced 3200 South Washington Park and some of the things that have been taking place there over the past couple years, again, to move what is a very vulnerable demographic in that area forward. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Okay, and I do want to indicate that we received a number of written communications regarding the floodplain special assessment that will be made part of the public hearing record. And our first speaker is Patricia Pfeiffer, followed by Loretta Stanaway, and speakers have 3 minutes.
Right, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, City Council. I do live in the floodplain, Jody. Jody knows me. What am I supposed to do?
Go ahead.
And I believe no private owner living in a home in the floodplain area, especially one that's not going to receive any actual benefit to their property, should be paying an additional assessment. I pay city tax, I pay federal tax, I pay MSU tax, county tax, and they're pitching in, and then I get to pitch in some more. It just seems like I'm taxed enough already. Additionally, when Mackenzie came and did the sewer siphon project on the end of Beach Street, they altered the grade. And I said something to him at the time. I said something to, I guess his name was Al or something at the city. This was years ago. And I said, that's not the way the hill went before. It was higher here. It was higher here. Oh, poo, 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 you don't know anything. And they've regraded that, the river trail. Boom, down it goes. And Beach Street floods. Now, I don't live on Beach Street. My neighbors do. I'm up the hill a little bit. My house is kind of like right in between the floodplain. I guess I'm in the floodplain. But my house will never flood unless God decides to, it's time to build an ark. In any event, Mackenzie was the one at fault for causing Beach Street to flood on a regular basis because they regraded and lowered the soil there. So I spoke with Rhonda over at the emergency management, I think that's what it's called. And she was really kind to give me all sorts of information on this. And I really appreciate that. I know it's $363,000, and that's a lot of money if you're going to pay it all at once. So I probably could spread this out. I'm paying 9% as an owner-occupied person, but MSU is paying 7%. I was like, doesn't MSU make a lot more money than I do? Don't they pay their coaches millions of dollars to win games? Now that's good. We like to win, right? Go green, go white. But it just doesn't seem like the balance is really there. And Jody knows me and my home, and I thank you, Jody, for being sensitive to the needs of your ward. And I guess I'm just about out of time. So anyway, I guess I'm opposed to this assessment.
Thank you very much.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate your comments.
Thank you. Next is Loretta Stanaway, then Terry.
On the budget, roads first. Used to be police and fire first, but it's gotten so bad that roads have now moved ahead of police and fire. Code next, then sidewalks, then parks, cemeteries, and golf. A lot of the public still to this day, unfortunately, does not understand different pots of money can be used for different things. We need to recognize that. We need to recognize the level of frustration and impatience and anger and revolution that is out there among the public. I continually hear wherever I go, whatever I see on Facebook, wherever people make comments, fix the roads, fix the roads, fix the roads, hire police, hire firefighters. They don't care where the money comes from, which pot, what it's labeled. They don't care, what you call it. They just want it done, and they want it done now. They're tired of waiting. They waited 12 years through the prior administration. This administration has given them a ray of hope at the light at the end of the tunnel. They want to see that light expanding and that tunnel getting shorter. They want to know that these things are going to get done. Mr. and Mrs. John and Mary Smith want to be able to wake up in a quiet and peaceful neighborhood, drive on decent roads to work, come home for lunch and be able to enjoy their backyard, come home after work on decent roads, have a peaceful and quiet neighborhood, not have to worry about dogs barking, firecrackers, gunshots, cops running through their backyard chasing a crook. They want quality of life, and they want it now, and they don't care what pot of money it comes from. They don't care about having soccer. They don't care about having common ground. They don't care about a beachfront on the river. They just want their quality of life. And that's what we're asking for you to do with this budget, is cut the fluff, cut the bells and whistles, get down to the nitty-gritty, get down to the needs versus the wants, get down to $500,000 for a paperless initiative, folks. That's 5 firefighters or 5 police officers. Which do you think your public really wants? They want those cops. They want those firefighters. They don't care if there's files in a box somewhere in a storage facility. And, you know, when you get right down to it, there's enough bells and whistles. They want the meats, the potatoes, the dinner bell. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Terry Calouette, followed by Eve Brown. Alouette, okay, thank you.
My speaking here is going to be fairly short. I don't believe I should have to pay this extra tax for my property. The reason being is I lived there about 40 years or more, give or take 5 or 10 years, and I never had any flood damage. I live close enough. There's a street where it floods on the other side, but where I live, it's sort of up on a hill, and the flood never gets to my place to damage any part of it. And if there's any damage, it would have to be all over Lansing, all flooding everywhere. So I'd like to appeal paying the $113.30. Money saved is money earned, and money I don't have to pay out or future my kids are going to inherit my property. I'm lowering their cost of property tax by talking to you today. And that's about it.
Thank you, sir, very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Eve Brown and then Suzanne Elms.
Hi, this is the first time I've done this. First of all, I'd like to thank Sarah Lair for her excellent article in the paper, and Rhonda Oberlin. She talked to me quite a while on the phone, and she was very, very informative. I'm puzzled about certain things. First of all, if the vote here is no, what does that mean in terms of whether this goes forward for us or not? Because I see it as we're a part of a parcel with MSU and other entities. So that's a question that I would like to have answered. Another puzzlement is, this was done by the U.S. Geological Survey in 1978, and that was the first time. And then, as I understand it, because of various improvements, is the reason why now we need to do it again. So I'm not sure why we need to pay for it and why it isn't a part of the job of the Geological Survey. I mean, isn't this what they do? Why wouldn't they do it like it's, something that needs to be redone? And if you need to alter something in a school, you don't go and do a special assessment and send out a special tax for the citizens. It gets done under a budget. So that's my big question. I am in favor of it, but I do sympathize with all the people, as we've heard, who unfortunately have a hard time to pay that amount of money. And that's what led me to, why isn't the Geological Survey doing it as a part of their regular job? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Suzanne Elms, followed by Derek Flory.
Hi there, guys. I'm not older than dirt, but I'm sure old enough to say, please don't go paperless, whatever you do. Have mercy on us. The other reason I'm here is for the floodplain information. I used to work in floodplain management. When I first started out in 1979, I would call people and tell them low-cost flood insurance, 25 cents per $1,000. Obviously, things have changed due to coastal flooding. We have a 1% chance for a 100-year flood. That's 1% chance and 100-year flood are the same thing of being flooded. There are people in the 10-year flood zone, there are people in the 50-year, 75-year, 100-year. But unfortunately, FEMA looks at it all the same. And so anything that they can do to differentiate between my house, which is out of the floodplain now, because my house that I lived in Sycamore Park before that was right smack in the middle of it. So I moved up, literally. The flood insurance FEMA is in big trouble. They used to cover furniture, they used to cover all sorts of things, your furnace, your washing machine. They have apparently stipulated now that you have to be surrounded by X number of inches of water and so forth. It used to cover furniture, then people, good old people, would run the old sofa down to the basement and get a new sofa. So that didn't help anything. I sympathize with people that can't afford this. I don't know how many rentals are in the floodplain and whether that, I don't think the occupants should pay for it, at least. If there are landlords involved, they should certainly pay for the cost of this. But I agree that perhaps our city dollars should be used on this because this is a cloud that's been over our city for a number of years in the form of flood insurance being required, and it's now so expensive. It's ridiculous, and it doesn't cover anything worth a hoot. You notice I said hoot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Derek Flory and then Dan McCormick.
Hello, my name's Derek Flory. I live on Schubel Avenue in Sycamore Park. I just wanted to come and speak and say that I support the assessment. I've lived there about 2 years. I'm not real sure why the original assessment that we're going off of seems, the feeling is it's incorrect. I'm not sure where that comes from, but by council's own admission, appears to be incorrect. So I hope steps are taken to correct that, so things will be correct in the future. I do have sympathy, and I can understand people not having enough money to pay for the assessment. Things are tough. But on the other way of looking at it, if the flood level is gone down, in the future, flood insurance would be more affordable for more people. So ultimately, I think it helps everyone, including people who may not have as much money as others. This does seem to be a regional project. So it's just not our neighborhood or our street or the next neighborhood over, but it is a regional thing. And ultimately, whatever I guess you guys decide, I really hope that you guys find a way to make it happen. I'm not sure what tools you guys have, if you can waive the fee for certain people or not, but I do think it's very important. Ultimately, it'll keep money in people's pockets, not paying as much insurance. It'll increase people's home values, increases taxes. So ultimately, I just hope council works with everybody and gets it done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, Dan McCormick.
City Council, I'm 110% against this. I've lived in the floodplain since the early 2000s. I've had to endure multiple policy changes, laws from the state and federal level that have ballooned my escrow account, made my property not sellable, and if this keeps going, more and more people will be forced out of their homes. Now you want us to pay for an additional assessment that has no guarantee in it. Not one iota of a guarantee that you will remove my flood claim from my property. No, don't do it. There's a lot of people out there that can't make ends meet. I live in Urbandale neighborhood. There's not a lot of people down there that can afford this. And I'm just wondering if this passes, if the real issue is going to be, does this lift the flood restrictions on the Red Cedar Golf Course, where there is big money and big investment coming? Is that what this is really about? Is this about an agenda for a 21st century, going green with this initiative and building sustainability in a space that's already green? I have a hard time believing that we can get behind this. So I'm urging City Council, who serves the people, we created you. Don't be so big that you don't serve us anymore. Think of the property owners, the people that have a hard time making ends meet. This is not the way to do it. We can't prevent you from this study that may restrict or shrink in the size of the floodplain, but you shouldn't be doing it on the taxpayer's back. If you want to pay for it, fine. But I do not want to pay for this. That's all I've got to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was our final speaker. We are to the referral of the public hearings. Number one, the
Well-
budget.
We'll go back to the committee of a whole.
Number two, the special assessment.
We'll also go back to committee of a whole.
Number three, the noise waiver.
General services,
And number four, SLU 1, 2019.
will go back to DMP.
Okay, we are to, do we have a consent?
Yeah.
We are to the consent agenda.
Vice President Spatafor.
Madam President, I will be pulling items, the entirety of items 2, item 3, item 4, and item, that's it. So then the consent agenda will be items 1, which is tribute and 1B, which is tribute and recognition of the LPD volunteer coordinator, Margaret Barnes. Item 1C, a tribute and recognition of Ava Salinas' 100th birthday. Item 1D, a tribute in recognition of the annual Sikh parade. And then item, is that my time? Item 5A, which is the confirmation, the appointment of Brianna McGarry as the at-large member of the Medical Marijuana Commission for a term to expire November 27th, 2022, unless there are other objections.
All right. With that, we have our consent agenda. Are there any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously.
And it's my understanding we're moving now to the Committee on Public Services.
Yes, we are. We have some appointments that we have people here for. So, Vice President Spatafor.
Madam President, I'd like to move the resolution confirming the appointment of Mike Dombrowski as an at-large member of the Park Board for a term to expire June 30th, 2020. Mr. Dombrowski met with the Public Service Committee last week, talked about his interest in serving the Park Board and serving the city in a larger role than as resident and volunteer on numerous positions. We're looking forward to his service to the city, and he is here tonight to be sworn in by the clerk.
If you would come down, sir. Thank you very much. And with that, we have a motion before us. Are there any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes unanimously. And with that, we'll have you come up to the microphone and get your...
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States faithfully discharge the duties as a member of the Parks Board according to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Vice President Spatafor.
Madam President, I would like to move the resolution confirming the appointment of Erica A. Poland as the third ward member of the Park Board for a term to expire June 30th, 2023. Many of you might recognize her. She's been a regular at city council meetings for a bit and very interested in serving the Parks Board, very committed to the parks in the city of Lansing and our green space. She interviewed very well and enthusiastically at Public Service Committee. So without any further questions.
All right, Erica, if you would come on down. We've got a motion before us. Are there any questions or concerns? Seeing none. Oh, I'm sorry.
Just very quickly, as the third ward representative, I want to voice my support for Erica's appointment. We have been running into each other just about everywhere as of late. She is a active participant of RSL. What I really appreciate about her is that she listens, she learns, and then she engages. I believe she will be a very vocal and passionate advocate on the park board, and I just wanted her to know I appreciate her. Yeah.
All right, with that, all those, Councilmember Spitzley.
Just really quick, as a resident of the Third Ward, welcome, and the Parks Board at-large person, just let you know, Parks Board, the next level is City Council. So, it is, and we talked about this, that some people, they underestimate the role of the Parks Board, but it is a critical function, so we appreciate your time, and we appreciate your service.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Michigan. That I will faithfully discharge the duties as a member of the Parks Board according to the best of my ability.
Okay, thank you very much. And with that, we will move into the General Services Committee, and that would be Councilmember Washington.
Thank you, Madam President. I was so interested in the appointments, I lost my space. The first thing we have before us is setting a public hearing in consideration of the noise special permit rehabilitating Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard from Pleasant Grove Road North to 550 feet south of Victor Avenue for work on weekdays and weekends during the 2019 construction season. And this is an investment of $4.6 million to perform the repairs, the pavement repairs, and preventive maintenance. The traffic will be maintained throughout the project. One lane will be open in each direction with a center left turn lane during daytime hours and most evenings. Certain nighttime construction activity will require closing the center left turn lane. Both through lanes will remain open. I don't have the date for the public hearing.
30 days. No, it's not. We changed it. I'm sorry. Just a second here.
June 10th.
June 10th?
Is that what it says, June 10th?
Yeah. It's the item A.
Pardon?
Item A is June 10th.
All right, June 10th.
Okay, and with that, I would move the resolution to set the public hearing for this.
All right, we have a motion in front of us. Are there any questions or concerns? Yes.
Sorry, I'm trying, maybe I'm not reading it right. So we're rehabilitating MLK from
The
Pleasant.
state is.
Okay, thank you. From Pleasant Grove, but doesn't Pleasant Grove and MLK run parallel to each other? My bad. Yes, I got it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, yeah.
Yeah.
Under my house. Thank you, sorry, apologies.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Pose. Passes unanimously, and again, that's June 10th for that hearing. Councilmember Washington.
Thank you, Madam President. What we have before us is a request for community funding for Men Making a Difference for their family community cookout. This organization has grown exponentially in the past few years. These guys are doing a tremendous work with the young men in our community, and they are continuing to do the work. And I am asking that we pass the resolution appropriating $1,000 to them through the community funding for this cookout. With that, I move the resolution.
We have a motion on the resolution. Are there any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And this event is on July 20th. Councilmember Washington.
Thank you, Madam President. The last thing I have for the body is a claim disposition, claim number 1677. It's for 640 East Jolly Road. This is in the amount of $440 in trash fees. What had happened was they had a sofa between the sidewalk and the street, and then he put it on the front porch and left to go deer hunting. And he says that he missed the date to move before we came and cleaned it up. The claim was filed January 23rd, 2019. The Claims Review Committee heard it on March 20th, 2019. The Claims Review Committee letter went out March 26th, 2019. It was referred to City Council on April 22nd, 2019. It was referred to Committee on General Services. We actually had Mr. Kane in today, and he does know that we are recommending denial of the claim. So with that, I would ask that we pass the resolution denying this claim.
All right, we have a motion before us. Are there any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously.
And we are to the order, to the Committee on Public Safety.
Councilmember Spitzley.
Thank you, Madam President. What we have before us is a resolution for an order to make safe or demolish for 840 Maple Hill Avenue. We had a public hearing on this. I think it was the last council meeting. The SCV information is $26,500. It is estimated that the repairs will be over $90,000. As of this date, there have been no permits pulled for building, electrical, or anything. We've had hearings, and in neither case, the owner of record has showed up. So based on that, I move the resolution to proceed with make safe or demolish for 840 Maple Hill Avenue.
We have a motion before us. Do we have any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Okay, we are to ordinances for introduction. The Committee of the Whole introduced an ordinance of the City of Lansing, Michigan, readopting the codified ordinances of the City of Lansing. The ordinance is read a first time by its title and referred to the Committee of the Whole.
Vice President Spatafor.
Yes, recall back to January of 2018, when we discovered, February of 2018, we discovered that, is that correct, Mr. Clerk? Okay, sorry. That a number of our ordinances had to be recodified or else they expired under a 10-year plan. This ordinance would, if memory serves, require that as part of the adoption, all of our ordinances would be recodified on an annual basis during the budget process to avoid that technical snafu in the future. So I would move the ordinance.
Okay, this is moving, setting the public hearing for May 20th.
I will do that too.
Yep. Are there any other questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously.
We are to ordinances for passage. We have an ordinance of the City of Lansing, Michigan, providing for the rezoning of a parcel of real property located in the City of Lansing, Michigan, and for the revision of the district maps adopted by Section 1246.02 of the Code of Ordinances. Z1 2019, 901 Cleveland Street rezoning from B Residential District to F Commercial Street District is read a second time by its title. The ordinance was reported from the Committee on Development and Planning and is on the order of immediate passage.
We have Councilmember Hussein. Who
Sure. So
will
the
speak to
applicant in this case is Optic LLC, and they are a full-service video company. They have grown exponentially. They've been in that place for about 20 years, and they are growing in terms of customer base. They're adding employees, and so they're struggling a little bit with parking. They do have, I believe it's 2 to 3 on-site parking spaces, and now what's happening is the growth is kind of necessitating this parking on Cleveland Street. In 2017, they had purchased a property just west of their property from the land bank. They then combined the parcels. So in a very kind of unique scenario, they have what is basically hybrid zoning at that particular property. And so what they are requesting is that western, I think it's 5,300 square feet, that be rezoned to F commercial to allow for parking. We did have a public hearing on April 22nd. We did not have anybody that was necessarily adverse to it. The Development and Planning Committee has done a little bit of homework on this particular business. The neighbors in the area seem to be very fond of the business. They believe that it has stabilized that neighborhood quite a bit over the past couple decades. And I did, when we actually set the public hearing, I did speak a little bit about the zoning administrator and the fact that she was suggesting that we actually turn this down. We had her back into Development and Planning today, and she said that that was a very, that wasn't a strong recommendation. She talked a little bit about the unique aspect of this hybrid zoning. She talked a little bit about the neighborhood support for the rezone and the fact that this business has, in fact, stabilized that neighborhood a bit. And I believe that in Development and Planning, we had actually come to kind of an agreement that we agreed. So with that being said, I would move 901 Cleveland Street, a rezone from B Residential District to F Commercial District.
Are there any questions for Councilmember Hussein? Councilmember Washington.
Thank you, Madam President. I don't have any questions, but just a quick comment. This will also alleviate some of the parking out of the neighborhood. They are already, frankly, parking on that site, and if we rezone it and they're able to do a little landscaping, it'll actually improve that portion of the corridor on Oakland, and directly across the street is all commercial, also on the southern part of Oakland. So, like I said, this is in my pretty close to my neighborhood, and the neighbors have no objections. So I'm supportive, and the people that live in that area are supportive.
Vice President Spatafor.
Thank you. I just want to thank the chairman and the committee for going back over this, because when I originally heard this, I was concerned about the objections that were brought up in committee, and I'm glad that you were able to take another look at this and really make this happen for this group. I know they're trying to be good neighbors.
Are there any other questions? Councilmember Hussein, the only question I would have is, this will still be one parcel. It will not be, it's just divided in the zoning of it, not that we are separating the parcels.
No, they actually combine the parcels, so this parcel of land has hybrid zoning.
Okay,
Absolutely.
thank you. Okay, with that, it's roll call.
On adoption of the ordinance, Councilmember Garza. Yes. Councilmember Hussein. Yes. Councilmember Jackson. Yes. Councilmember Spatafor. Yes. Councilmember Spitzley. Yes. Councilmember Washington. Yes. Councilmember Wood.
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays, the ordinance is adopted. We also have an ordinance of the City of Lansing, Michigan, providing for the rezoning of a parcel of real property located in the City of Lansing, Michigan for the revision of the district maps adopted by Section 1246.02 of the Code of Ordinances, Z2 2019, 714 North Pine Street, rezoning from C Residential District to D1 Professional Office. Is read a second time by its title. The ordinance was reported from the Committee on Development and Planning and is on the order of immediate passage.
Councilmember Hussein.
Sure. So the applicant in this case is the Capital Area Housing Partnership. We have had them in before this body quite a few times this year. We looked at extending pilots respectively for Ferris Manor as well as Walnut earlier this year, actually just about a month ago. And what this would do, I should say what they're looking to do on site at 714 North Pine Street is to renovate the existing structure. And what they'd like is first floor office space. And this would be to support the services that they are providing, what is a very vulnerable demographic at those two properties. And then what they also want is a one-bedroom apartment on the second floor. And the idea behind that is that they would actually have a support specialist living on site to provide those services. In terms of the office space, they could also use that for training and things of that nature. So the zoning administrator believed that this was an appropriate rezone, that this was a critical need for those two properties and the individuals that are living at those properties. The Development and Planning Committee agreed. And so with that being said, I would move the rezone for 714 North Pine Street from a C residential district to D1 professional office.
Are there any questions for Councilmember Hussein? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
On passage of the ordinance, Councilmember Garza. Yes. Councilmember Hussein. Yes. Councilmember Jackson. Yes. Councilmember Spatafor. Yes. Councilmember Spitzley. Yes. Councilmember Washington. Yes. Councilmember Wood.
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays, the ordinance is adopted.
Okay.
Okay, we are to speaker registration for public comment on city government-related matters. That is the yellow sign-in sheet in the back, and if you wish to address the city council, we do need you to sign up in the next few moments. And with that, we are to reports of city officers, boards, and commissions.
Vice President Spatafor.
Madam President, I move that all items be considered as being read in full and that the proper referrals be made by you.
Are there any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passed unanimously.
Okay, we have letters from the city clerk regarding minutes of boards, commissions, and authority.
Placed on file.
A general fund status report, fiscal year 2019 third quarter.
Committee of the Whole and Internal Auditor.
Letters from the mayor regarding orders to make safe or demolish 3005 Herrick Drive.
Public Safety Committee.
Orders to make safe or demolish 410 South Francis.
Public Safety Committee.
Noise special permit for work on Miller Road and Turner Street.
General Services.
Okay. And communications and petitions, claim number 1676, Tariq Abawi for board up fees at 730 North Pine.
General Services.
The communication from the NAACP Lansing branch regarding the consolidation of Ingham County District Courts.
Committee of the Whole.
And notices from the Liquor Control Commission, first to transfer ownership of an SDD license from El Buin and transfer the location to 600 East Michigan to be held with an SDM license.
General Services.
Transfer of an SDD and SDM license for 4405 South Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard.
And that would also be General Services.
Okay. And if I can ask just a moment of your indulgence, this is the first council meeting for our new intern, Nathan Kelps. So
Hello,
welcome
Nathan.
him. He'll be assisting us this summer. He's a student at MSU.
Well, thank you.
And we are to motion of excused absence.
Motion for excused absence. Councilmember Washington. This is for Councilmember Dunbar. Yep. So we have a motion. All those in favor say aye. Thank you.
Short and sweet.
Yeah.
That's what we like.
Okay.
Okay, we are to remarks by council members.
Are there any closing remarks by council members? Seeing none.
Additional remarks by the mayor.
The mayor has none either.
Okay, we are to public comment. We have Cynthia Ward, followed by Loretta Stanaway. I should say the Honorable Judge Ward.
Yes.
Good evening, Council. I'm Cynthia Ward, District Court Judge here in Lansing. I'm here to publicly state my opposition to the current proposal for court consolidation. I have sent to each of you, you should have received in your email, a letter that addresses my specific concerns, and I did send a copy to you, Mayor. But I wanted to highlight a concern that is of, I think, of significant importance that I'd like to bring to each of your attention. As you know, the current proposal for court consolidation removes the election districts. Specifically, the legislation provides that beginning 8 years after consolidation, that the 3 election divisions would be abolished and the judges would be elected at large. So the at-large would be the entire county. And when I began thinking about that, I realized that that meant over time, we can have 8 judges serving as Ingham County District Court judges without a single judge living in the city of Lansing. And to me, I thought that was extremely problematic. And I had 2 conversations with people that I'd like to share with you. One was a member of the legal profession, actually both were. And this one comment came during the time of my campaign. And the person said to me, Cynthia, one of the downsides to running for 54A District Court Judge is that you would have to live in the city of Lansing. And I was taken aback that that was characterized to me as a downside. The second conversation I had was with an attorney who's a relatively junior attorney. She's looking to join the district court bench in 5 to 10 years. And this attorney said to me, I asked the attorney if she planned to move into the city of Lansing, and she said to me, well, I won't have to if the consolidation goes through. So there are a number of reasons why I am not supporting the consolidation, but I wanted to highlight to you those 2 conversations because I think they amplify the concern that I have. So I ask that you read my letter and give it due consideration. And if you have any questions, I'm available. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge Ward.
Thank you. Next, we have Loretta Stanaway, and then George Nikopoulos.
Well, just a wrap up on the issue of the budget. I think it's really important that all of you understand that for the average citizen in this city, they are tired of waiting for things to get done. And to see a budget come through with an extra person in neighborhood and development, to see a budget come through with Wi-Fi in a park, to see a budget come through with paperless offices, they are going to sit there and they're going to say, take that money, put it in the roads, put it in the roads, put it in the police, put it in the fire. And that's their mantra. That's what they want to see happen. They don't necessarily care where you get it from, what you call it, but just to really stress to you, I know that this budget is better than the previous budgets, and it does more for roads and police and fire and sidewalks, but they're saying it isn't enough. We want more, and we want it now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have George Nikopoulos.
Good evening. My name is George Nicolopoulos. To make a very long story short, I bought a house on Regent Street, Potter Walsh area. Pretty little house. It was bought by an Irish boy for his Greek wife. It was painted blue and white. I restored it to the original colors, the colors of the Greek flag. Isn't that nice? Tried to put it back in pristine condition. It was red tagged at the time, got the red tag taken out, and because I'm Greek, I have a very large family, but I am very disciplined. I don't approve of bad behavior. I'm a grown man. I put myself through college. You know, I've practiced computers my whole life. I've taught for Lansing Community College, and on occasion, some of my relatives misbehave and they're asked to leave. Most recently, I had to get rid of a relative who insisted on, shall we say, selling marijuana to underage kids. I have no tolerance for that, none at all. You have no idea how no tolerance. I don't even want to deal with smoking. He was asked to leave because he did it not once, not twice, but 3 times. The coward decided to go to code enforcement. He damaged my house, took wall switch covers off the walls, punched holes in the walls, did all sorts of, stole the knobs off my water heater. Okay? He went to the code enforcement people and said, oh, this house is uninhabitable. All right. So code enforcement shows up, a very nice young man, very professional, and he gained access to my house because he told an underage child, by that I mean 17-year-old, that he had a warrant to get into my house. It's my house. I live there. What, they couldn't wait 20 minutes for a call to come through so I could drive across town to see what the heck was up? No, court enforcement came in and red tagged my house because wall plate covers were missing. Supposedly there was dog poop on the floor in the basement. Really? I didn't see any there. I was there 5 minutes after they left. There was no dog poop there. So for the last month, my family has been waiting for code enforcement to come by and finish
what's the call? Inspecting, finalizing the permits that I pulled almost 2 years ago. I've been waiting 2 years. They came in a year ago, put a green sticker on my furnace, forgot to check the water heater, forgot to check underneath the sink, forgot to do this, forgot to do that. They didn't check the electrical panel. I'm supposed to know they're supposed to finalize this stuff? Are you kidding? They've decided my house is a rental because I allow family members to live there. That's not me. I bought a 4-bedroom house. I'm going to occupy it by myself? It's sad. I get professional people, and I get really bad behavior from them. My time is up, and I thank you for listening to me.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you. That was our final speaker.
Okay, are there anything else? Seeing nothing else, we are adjourned.
1225 Regent.